Hello, pool players. Welcome back to the APB Training Club. My name is Apex Selenio, your aspiring professional pool player and pool instructor straight out of the small island of Jamaica. Now, of course, in today's video, I'm going to be highlighting 3 to 5 things that I've identified in my game which have successfully converted into tips that will, and I guarantee you will, improve the consistency of you becoming a better rotation pool player. Stay tuned, guys. This video has a lot to offer you. But before we get into the tips, I'm going to take a moment here to highlight the fact that Apex Predator Billiards is now in association with Bizu Carbon Fiber Cues and Shafts. We have formed a coalition, we have formed a team where we are now producing quality cues for quality players, all players at all levels. Carbon fiber cues, wood shaft cues, we have accessories such as gloves, chalk. The prices are to die for. You definitely want to tap in and get into that. Feel free to just check out the website, guys. A link will be pinned in the comments and in the description of my video. There's a summer promotion going on right now where you can get 10% off quality cues, quality carbon fiber cues. So definitely go ahead, guys, and check that out. But for now, we're gonna dive right into this video where I'm going to be sharing 3 to 5 tips that will supercharge and improve your consistency in 9-ball pool. Now, as you can see here, guys, obviously I'm going to be starting off with the break, and I'm going to be taking my time and I'm going to be breaking down every single aspect of this failed rack. Your failed racks are the racks that will give you the most information about your game. Now, obviously you can see that's a beautiful break, and it's a beautiful break for 2 reasons. Number 1, as I hit the rack there, you can see that the 1 ball went into the side. I'm actually very surprised at how consistently I have been getting the 1 ball into the side on this particular table. And 2, look at how the cue ball has squat right at the spot. Beautiful control on the cue ball there, almost even getting the 9 ball into the corner, into the side for a golden break. But let's take a slower breakdown of this break shot here, slower analysis. As you can see, upon impact of the cue ball slightly hops off the table. Then as it slams into the rack, or as it hits into the rack, into the 1 ball, immediately can see a slight little hop of the cue ball. But that hop was very controlled, and as you can see, it squats into the middle of the table there, getting the 1 ball trajectory towards the side, getting a couple of kicks on the 9 ball there, heading towards the side for a potential golden break. But obviously I'm not breaking the game with the intention of getting a golden break. I just want a solid break, a good spread, beautiful control on the cue ball, and a look at the lowest numbered ball, to which I was successful. So this rack looks beautiful, looks like I'm ready to get started. The only problem I see right away here is just the 6 ball. But we're going to sort that out later. For now, I'm on the 2. I have a passage, I have a trajectory to shoot the 2 past the 8. Now, tip number 1 here is pre-shot routine and controlling your pace around the table. For me, I'm a very amped up type of player. And when I'm amped up, I tend to move a bit fast. As you will recognize here, that I'm moving quite fast around the table. I'm just working with the momentum. That's something that you want to try to stay in control of. And you'll notice here that my momentum around the table causes me to do things like this. Pot the 2, but let us take a look at the replay. Upon potting the 2, notice how hard I hit that object ball. That was not necessary, because when you hit the cue ball that hard and you have so much movements on your elbow, on your back arm, it tends to cause you to apply unwanted side spin. It tends to also deflect the cue ball past the contact spot of the object ball where you need to hit, and just so many little things can happen that will cause you to miss hit the object ball and the cue ball. Nevertheless, I was quite successful in potting that shot and getting a look there on the 3, which is pretty much sitting in the pocket. Now, nice pot there on the 3, floating down back, towards the middle of the table, here comes tip number 2, or I guess this is tip number 3. Now notice here there I'm eyeing up the 4 ball into the side. And it's an easy shot for 2 reasons. Number 1, the 9 ball is acting as a backboard. And number 2, I have a natural path going in the opposite direction that will then lead me all the way back down to the other side of the table to target the 5 ball. Now here's where I made a huge mistake. You'll see that chalk placed here, but that chalk was not just placed there just because I was just chalking my cue. I was actually aiming so the cue ball can hit that section where the chalk is. But what I didn't do was that I didn't stay down on my shot, and because of that amped movement that I was talking to you about, notice here that as I deliver my cue, nice smooth transition, I got up in the middle of the stroke even while the cue ball was nowhere coming in my path to disturb my cue. And because of that extra added movement during the stroking process, I accidentally applied unwanted side spin and amped up the speed, clearly causing the cue ball to follow a path that was not designed. And so what should have been a beautiful break and run turns out to be a disastrous rock where I've hooked myself behind the 7, so I can't see the 5. Now naturally guys, obviously I'm going to try to still see what I can do or salvage from the rock. I'm pretty good with the short stick. In this rock you won't see how skilled I am at this. However, I'm still going to find a way here to extrapolate something that can improve our game. When you end up with a situation like this guys, you've just got to calm yourself down, compose yourself, and just trust and believe in your skill set. And I'm pretty good with the cue, the short stick. But notice here where I've gone through the process of aiming higher than 45 degrees, but as I impact the cue ball here, you see where it wasn't angled enough and I hopped into the 7. Horrible jump shot there. Let's have a look at the replay. But as I hopped into the cue ball there, as I aimed the jump cue into the cue ball, it wasn't high enough, so it contacted the 7, went on the rail, rolled off the table. And if you're playing with a strong opponent, you already know that this is a done deal. Now for me, it's not completely a done deal because of where that 7 went. It makes position on the 6 a little bit tricky. So now, even though I give up a ball in hand, I'm still going to have to think as if my opponent gave me this opportunity and I have to run out. And so here, if you have a look here at this, notice that I didn't just place that cue ball there just for any reason. You notice that on this freeze frame, notice the distance between the cue ball and my bridge hand and the cue ball and the 5 ball. They are equal distance apart. And why did I do that? Subconsciously I did it, but upon further analysis I realized that when I do this, it allows me to have a level of control over my cue ball. And so it allows me to control my draw speed. So if I have to play, for example, short side position here on the 6, I don't really have to move the cue ball that much. And if you notice that upon that stroke, my head hasn't moved, my shaft hasn't moved, my hands haven't moved until I realize that I got position or fairly good position on my object ball. That's the time I got up. Now if you notice that my pace around the table has drastically slowed down from the beginning, but again I amped up the pace again and I didn't even calculate or calibrate the negotiation of the carom from the putting the 6 onto the 8. So now again I have left myself in a very unorthodox position. Now in reality guys, in hindsight, I'd love to come here and break and run every game and explain to you how this is done, how that is done. But in the real game, when you're playing with your friends, playing in a competition, you're gonna end up with situations like this. Now on this freeze frame here, notice I've pointed my hand on that spot. And this is not the first, second or the third time you guys have seen me do this. That spot is an important spot on the pool table. That's the spot near to the kitchen. And when the object ball is on that spot and the cue ball is in direct line as how it is right now, with the exception that the 7 ball would be where the cue ball is and the cue ball would be where the 8 ball is, then that's a natural 45-degree cut shot into the side. So what I did there is that I made a mental comparison, and it so happens that to pot the 7 is approximately 45 degrees. Unfortunately though, I cut the 7 ball a hair too thick, and so I missed the shot here. Naturally, if I had made that 7, you would see how beautiful it would be, because I knew that it was going to go into the back of the 8 to get position. Again guys, I gave up on the rock from the moment I potted the 4 and hooked myself behind the 7 on the 5. So right now I'm just going through the motions, trying to see what I can salvage from the rock. But I do hope that you recognize the tips that I'm extrapolating from this rock. You don't really learn a whole lot when you get a break and run, because a break and run obviously means that you did everything right. But in a rock like this, where you're making some mistakes, I'm making some mistakes, this is the best time to get the information about your game. So here I've identified a couple of things. Number 1, pace around the table should be controlled. 2, go through your pre-shot routine. 3, control your emotions. 4, do not give up even when you've met in adversities. Alright guys, so I do hope that you learned something from this rock, whatever it may be. Use it to your advantage and continue to practice with precision, accuracy, consistency, and control. Until next time, peace out, take care, bye bye.